Welcome, everybody, to Survive in Advance on the Gruely Truth Sports Network. Survive in Advance is brought to you by the Sheridan Report. Make sure you check out Bobby Sheridan at Sheridan Report or on the internet, www.thesheridanreport.com. I'm your co-host for Survive in Advance, Mike Goodpaster. And right now, I would like to welcome my co-host, as always, member of the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame, 1981 national champion, Steve Risley. How you doing today, Steve?
Mike, it's a Monday morning, buddy. I missed you yesterday. Had to go sit through the Oscars with my family. It was tough. But glad to be back here. Let's get talking sports again.
All right. And sitting in today with our first segment and for our second segment from the Sheridan Report, Bobby Sheridan. How you doing, Bobby?
Mike, I'm excited, and I'm excited to have our guests on today, and it's a great start of the week, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and our guest today is with the new AAF. He is the president of the Orlando Apollos. Help me welcome to the show, Michael Waddell. How you doing, Michael?
Man, I'm doing okay. And Steve, it's been a long time since we've seen each other. The last time I think we interacted, you made me cry back in March of 1981 when your Indiana Hoosiers, on the same day that President Reagan got shot by John Hinckley, beat my Tar Heels. That hurt my feelings.
So you're a North Carolina boy.
Oh,
yeah.
Absolutely.
It's going to be fun now. Yeah.
The good thing about it, Michael, is... Michael, the good thing is
Michael,
Steve didn't have a whole lot to do with it.
Oh, come on. Isaiah Thomas and I combined for 26 points in the game.
Yeah,
you
had
I had to shut down Perkins, Worthy, and Al Wood. Are you kidding me? Mike,
Al Wood had a
great
give
me a text message.
We had 39 against Virginia there.
Yeah, well, yeah. Mm-hmm. And what good did that get you? You had to come play us.
I think the Tar Heels were just more patriotic. They were worried about President Reagan.
Probably.
Hey, if you give me your email, I'll send you a picture of my championship ring real quick. I send it
out.
He
will, too.
I'll send you mine from 1993.
Michael, even if you don't send him your email, he will find you and make sure you see a picture of
I'll find you. I'll go to LinkedIn. You got to be on LinkedIn.
That's okay. You bring it. I love to talk about it. How the Hoosiers doing this year? But thanks a lot for playing.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
No
fair bringing up the last 20 years.
All right. And actually, Michael, I'll tell you what.
Get Tom Green to come on the show.
Oh God, right now North Carolina I think is the hottest team in the country right now. I think they're playing the best basketball at this moment of pretty much anybody in terms of just continuity of team and will and determination to win. I think you got to look at North Carolina as a real threat now, especially with Duke's situation. I'd be very proud of your basketball team. You guys do it year in and year out. You guys, but we had Rashad McCants on and learned about plantation education too. So,
yeah, well, enough said.
That's at 90%. All right, let's get to the AAF, which is why Michael is here. Michael,
exactly.
You want to give us a little background?
He started it. I wouldn't bring it up.
Yeah, for once, Steve didn't start something. But you want to give us a little background of why you decided to join the Orlando Apollos, when you joined the team as the president, and just basically the basics of where this all started?
Yeah, well, I worked 28 years in college athletics, and then 2 years after our administration changed at the University of Illinois, when the guy that you've worked for at three places gets let go, that's not a great job security role for you. So, new AD came in, great guy, Josh Whitman, wanted to, bring in some of his own people. So we talked about some stuff at the same time. I was already looking for a few months and ended up taking a job in NASCAR and did that at Richmond Raceway for 2 years. But after 2 years of being away from team sports, you get the itch. It's just in your blood. Some people, if you're a media person, that's in your blood. If you're a video person, that's in your blood. But if you're somebody that is used to being around teams and helping to run teams, that's something that you just tend to crave. And got contacted by a search firm, Prodigy Sports, and they told me about this opportunity. And it really wasn't specifically with Orlando. In fact, Orlando wasn't in the top three cities that I actually had asked to be considered for, because I said, well, surely they'll have a Florida guy in there. But I guess the football guys were smiling on me. They've been smiling on our team, according to Coach Spurrier, for the first part of the season. And the football gods smiled on me and gave me the opportunity to work with a world-class head coach and the head ball coach, Steve Spurrier, and world-class general manager, and Tim Ruskell, and the best fans and the best football city anywhere in America. So I'm truly blessed.
All right, so you want to talk a little bit about what Steve Spurrier means to this organization? Just having Steve Spurrier's name as the head coach has to do a ton to give this legitimacy in the Orlando area.
Well, I've worked for some big name coaches over the years. The all-time winningest coach when he retired, Dean Smith, was my first boss coming out of college when I worked at the Tar Heel Sports Network. But I tell you one thing. I don't know if I've ever been the combination of what Steve Spurrier brings to the table as a former athlete, 1966 Heisman Trophy winner, played in the NFL for San Francisco and Tampa Bay. I mean, did it all there. Head coach in the USFL, head coach at Duke, at Florida, 1996 national champion, head coach at the University of South Carolina. Also throw in a couple of years there with the Washington Redskins. And this guy's a living legend. I mean, in the state of Florida, this guy is just off the charts. Instant recognition, instant credibility. So we didn't even have a roster until I think it was January 30th or 31st. So for the longest time, from the time this team was announced, April of 2018, all the way to where we are right there, basically the 1st of February, he was the face of the franchise and still continues to be. There'll be people that just tune in to hear the live mic with Coach Spurrier because, he's a very direct and honest guy. Some coaches have coach speak. He has Steve speak. And I tell you, I'll take that, 7 days a week, twice on Tuesday. I mean, the guy is a living legend. He is the most keen mind that I've been around in a very long time. I'd equate him with Coach Smith. I think if he meets you one time, he'll remember something about you. He remembers every play of every game he's ever been in, which is particularly challenging and to keep up with because he is always on go. And it's a blessing to have him here in the Alliance of American Football.
All right. Now, when you look at the AAF, we've had multiple spring leagues that have failed before, most recently, the UFL. Even NFL Europe, after a while, the NFL, it was costing them too much money. What do you think makes this league more viable than some of the past leagues that have come?
Single entity ownership is a big part of this. Charlie Ebersol and Bill Polian, that was their mindset. And, we don't have individual team owners that are outspending one another. All 8 teams are run by the Alliance of American Football. And we have a brand new $250 million investment by Tom Dundon, who's the owner of the Carolina Hurricanes, and great TV broadcast agreement, CBS Sports Network, Turner, Bleacher Report on the stream, and then also the NFL Network with our primetime weekend games on Saturdays and Sundays. So this is a commitment to great football. It's a commitment to being a true complementary football organization to the NFL. We're not trying to compete with the NFL. That was the thing. I was a huge Philadelphia and Baltimore Stars fan of the USFL. Loved Jim Mora's team. Guys like Sam Mills, William Fuller, and Kelvin Bryant, Chuck Bucina. Just outstanding players coming out of that league. But then, after year 3, they say, well, we're going to wait a year and a half and then go head-to-head in the fall. Well, that was a doomed thing. And people would argue that it wasn't just the actions of the owner of the New Jersey Generals that felled the USFL, that just the economics were going to, come into play. It probably did what was going to happen anyway, but you can't go head-to-head with the number one sport in America, and that's the National Football League and the sport of football. What we can do is in the 6 months that the NFL is not around, we can take up half of that time and give people quality football, entertaining football, and with the allocated players, like for the Apollos here, I believe at the beginning of the year we had 29 of our 52 players that were former collegiate stars right here in Florida. And that makes so much of a difference in terms of fan equity. The people know these players. They want to come out and cheer for these players, and they want to also cheer for the head ball coach. Because even if you weren't a Gators fan, if you were a Seminoles fan or a Canes fan or whatever fan, you love to hate Steve Spurrier. Now he is your guy that everybody else loves to hate. So, it's kind of a nice way to flip the script, and could not be happier to be an Apollo.
All right, so you talk about a single entity league. What's that mean for you? You're the president. You've got a GM. You said you got a head football coach. So what is day-to-day, what is your responsibilities with the Apollos?
Well, I handle everything that's not on the field. So that's the best way to put it. What Tim Ruskell and our director of player personnel, Josh Hinch, do, they do everything between the lines along with our coaching staff. And, we're very blessed in that regard. Tim is a former president and general manager of the Seattle Seahawks. He won a Super Bowl ring as director of player personnel with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Has also spent time with the Chicago Bears, the Tennessee Titans, the Atlanta Falcons. So he knows football. And Josh played for Coach Spurrier at South Carolina, so he knows Coach. So together, and Tim really goes back to being a ball boy for the old expansion Tampa Bay Bucks when Coach Spurrier was the quarterback in Tampa Bay. So this is a group that's been around a long time. As to my daily duties, it's building the brand. When the coaches are out doing their thing, I'm doing things like this. I'm talking about I'm a promoter. We're selling tickets. We're selling sponsorships. We're churning out world-class digital content with our folks that run our Apollos Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and YouTube pages. We're even on Reddit and sometimes Periscope these days. So we're cranking out the brand, developing the alliance recognition in Central Florida and throughout the United States. And I think right now we have one of the more trending video clips anywhere. It's on Barstool Sports, it's on ESPN, it's everywhere, where we had Yuri the Wonder Dog come out and he caught an 83-yard.
That was my question. Don't go there.
It was on Sports Center Top 10. I mean, he has the world record. So we do so many things well here, but we do have the best wide retriever anywhere in professional football, and that's Yuri the Wonder Dog.
Okay, now hang on, Mike. I got a question. Yuri is a very Russian name. Has this dog been doped?
It could be a variety of things. I mean, there was a great University of Virginia basketball player a few years ago called Yuri Barnes. So, let's not just let's not turn everybody named Yuri into a Russian.
Well,
but,
Steve thinks anybody named that's a communist, so he's old.
Well, Yuri is free.
I have two Australian shepherds
running up and down.
Yeah. I have two Australian shepherds, and I can't get them to go 10 feet down chasing a frisbee. So it's like, they dog dive. They're dog divers and they are frisbee chasers. But I'm watching this dog and I'm thinking, then I'm seeing Yuri, this dog going 83 yards. But I got to give you credit, Michael. This is a much better halftime show than whatever the NFL puts on at the Super Bowl. I'd rather see frisbee dogs all day long doing halftime and doing stuff like that than watching these idiots on the stage.
Well, in week one, we had the Marching Wildcat Band from Bethune-Cookman University in nearby Daytona.
There you go.
So 325 guys, and they actually have their own Netflix series. If you didn't know, it's called Marching Orders. Their band director, Dr. Donovan Wells, is such a musician. I mean, just very gifted, and the discipline that everybody from their brass to their woodwinds all the way through the percussion section, their dancers, the drum majors, the flag corps. Truly, if you want to see an example, the personification of discipline and commitment, go look at that Bethune-Cookman marching band. They're world class.
Okay, here's the $10 question. I'm going to ask you: are you guys aligned with the NFL? I mean, let me. You're on the NFL Network.
That's an easy one.
CBS, which is a prime NFL.
But the NFL Network,
prime NFL station. They're kind of giving you guys carte blanche.
Well, the NFL Network's not even owned by the NFL. It's a licensing deal. So, that's one thing. But
they still control the content. The NFL still controls the content of that show.
We have 547 years of NFL experience between our front offices and our coaching staffs. And, 81% of the players have played in the National Football League. So, first and foremost, the commitment here in the Alliance of American Football has been well-versed by Bill Polian and by Charlie Ebersol. The commitment for this league was great football. And they're working to do that. Our guys, we were counting it up, and we went to tape Coach Spurrier's TV show this morning. We got to go to what day did we call it, January 3rd, when everybody gathered in San Antonio or something like that. So, we're under January 4th. So we're right now, and today, we're not even to 60 days that this team has been together, and nor any of the other teams. So when you think about that, to have 8 teams that are less than 60 days together, now going into week 4 of their first season of operation, it truly is a miracle and a great accomplishment that the Alliance of American Football in only 9 months has gone from being announced with Orlando as the first ever team last April, all the way through to where we were one of the opening games along with San Diego and San Antonio back on Saturday, February 9th. I mean, it is it's a lot of moving pieces there, over 1,000 employees, and it is a wondrous organization. It's a blessing to be a part of it.
All right. Bobby.
Okay, so my question becomes this: is that does your league look to become kind of a G League for the NFL, or do you want to remain standalone and think you can build it on your own, or would a good fit be for the AAF to become the G League of the NFL, which you take their practice players, you take their developmental players, and because you're putting quality football on the field. I'll tell you, I've watched 3 of your games, which and the quality of football you play is very good, and the production value is very good. But it's like the brand name of the players is still like, okay, I don't really know a lot of these guys. And Mike's more of a football guy than I am, so he probably knows a lot more of the players than I do. But is it a push toward we would like to align with the NFL and become the G League of the NFL?
Well, I think, like I said earlier, the Alliance of American Football, 8 cities stretching from west to east, San Antonio, San Diego, Salt Lake, Arizona, they're out of Phoenix, and then Memphis, Birmingham, Atlanta, and Orlando. And the teams were placed in communities that are natural growth areas for football. They aren't the biggest TV market, though Orlando is the largest TV market in America that doesn't have an NFL franchise. But this was put in place to be a growth mechanism for the game of football, not only for our league, but also for the game. So as the Alliance continues to grow, hopefully football continues to grow. And I think that's the great thing about this sport, that from the youth level, the flag level for adults, and lots of corporate leagues springing up, especially around Orlando. It's an amazing thing with the Under Armour Under the Lights program. But all the way through your high school and your colleges, and now with the Alliance of American Football, all working along just in terms of the harmony of the game with the higher level NFL and even the CFL to make sure that the game of football continues to prosper here.
All right,
how
Bobby.
are you bracing for XFL's coming next year? How do you see
I really
them?
haven't given it much thought.
Really?
And
you haven't given much thought.
We're worried.
Really?
We're worried about ourselves. No, because look, I mean, everybody has leagues that are coming up. Yes, it is. And we are the Alliance of American Football. We have our 8 cities. We have our broadcast contracts. We're playing football right now. So, what we're focused on right now is giving our fans, and this is truly something that I talk about daily in the office. We're convinced that, we're going to be most successful when we focus on our fans and our cities and building our brand to be strong. We want to take care of our fans' needs. If you follow our social accounts, everybody top to bottom in our organization is active on social media. If something happens out there and we don't know about it, I'd be surprised if that happens, because we try to take care of our fans' needs. It might be an impeded seat for an accessible patron, or it might be an issue with merchandise, or it might be an issue with parking. Whatever it is, we try to get out there, we solve it, and we make sure everybody has a great time. And then, let the football speak for itself. And right now in Orlando, head ball coach has the Apollos 3-0, and we're going into Salt Lake this weekend. And that ought to be a great game, as Salt Lake got a huge win this past weekend over Arizona.
Yeah, that was
What's been the average attendance? What's been the average attendance at your games?
We had
what's the average attendance of games for the leagues?
I'm not even, because I'm more focused on Orlando. So we've been over 20 each time. I think we did about 300 more for game 2 than we did for game 1. And I have 2 weeks now off before our staff has another home game mid-March. We have one home game in March, and we finish off for week 6 at home, March 16th, and then we're away on the 23rd and the 30th, and we come back at home for a 2-game stint against, I think it is San Diego and Birmingham on April 6th and April 14th. And then hopefully, good Lord willing, the creek don't rise. We'll be there in the Alliance playoffs there on the 21st. And then hopefully out the San Boyd Stadium in Las Vegas for the Alliance Championship game on Saturday, the 27th of April.
All right, Bobby.
And Michael, I will be there. I will be there for that game, Michael. You guys get to that game. I will be there. And
hey,
I've been calling it from day one. And
can we get Bobby media credentials?
Sure.
Who would we get a hold of?
We might put Bobby in at fullback.
Oh, that'd be nice. Then Bobby wouldn't be coming to any more shows for a few weeks, probably.
Can you concuss him? Can you just concuss him, please?
Oh, Bobby's already concussed.
Bobby's already concussed. He's a baseball player.
Bobby, before we wrap it up with Michael, you got any questions for him?
Oh, I just wanted to say, Michael, it's been a pleasure meeting you, and you're such a great guy, and I'm a big fan of your guys', and I'm just so happy that we're off to a great start and that the organization is doing so well, and our little bet that we kind of came up with on the Twitter, that was pretty cool, and it got too close for comfort on Saturday, didn't it?
It was a little, you know what, I wasn't too worried. But, as long as we have the head ball coach, I feel really good. I'll tell you another thing. One of our secret weapons here for the Orlando Apollos is, and you can watch both the San Antonio game and our game this past weekend against the Memphis Express. In both of those games in the fourth quarter, there is no doubt about who the most fit team is on the field. And our strength coach, Darren Crine, does a magnificent job. I was just with our general manager, Tim Ruskell, this morning, and he was just, showering Darren Crine with praise. I mean, this is a guy that's been in the NFL. He's been with the Indianapolis Colts. He's, world class, and we're so very fortunate to have him here. And, we put people away in the fourth quarter. I think it's at least the first two games we had interceptions in the fourth quarter. I think we got our interceptions in the first quarter this week, first and second quarter. But, nonetheless, our defense is highly effective. Our best defensive player, at least in terms of preseason hype, has not even played yet. He won't play until next week against Birmingham. That's former Michigan State standout Jarrell Worthy, who is a world-class down lineman, and who's going to, that's going to be a thing to watch, I think, on March 9th. When we go into Legion Field there in Birmingham, you're going to see the Orlando Apollos up against Birmingham, both teams undefeated right now at 3-0. But you're going to have Trent Richardson, the former Alabama Crimson Tide player, going up against my man Jarrell Worthy and so many of our freaks and large athletes that we have on our Apollos defense. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch that game. And, hopefully the fans will tune in. Our TV ratings have been very strong. Those Saturday and Sunday night packages on the NFL Network are outstanding. And, it's one of those things. Every week it's going to get a little bit better from the crowds to the brand recognition. As you were talking about, Mike, you might not know these players right now, but that's the fun part. Nobody knew about Kurt Warner outside of the University of Northern Iowa. But he plays in the Arena League with the Barnstormers, gets a little cult following, makes it there to St. Louis, and next thing you know, they have 2 Super Bowls with the greatest show on turf. That's going to be the same thing. When you hear the names like Garrett Gilbert, who's the quarterback for the Apollos, you have Jalen Marshall, former Buckeye receiver, Charles Johnson. You have Rennell Speedy Hall, who's a legend from UCF's 2014 Fiesta Bowl team. You have all these different guys that are just coming up, a different person every week. And that's the fun part about this, is that if you do follow, and these teams are incredibly engaged on social media throughout the Alliance of American Football. But if you follow us,
the social media has been unreal.
At AAF Apollos. And if you follow that, you're going to see behind-the-scenes stuff, and we might even have a segment this week with Yuri, the wide retriever, for us.
There you go,
We're trying
Steve.
to get a waiver right now for Bill Polian to see if we can't sign. We have 52 men on the roster, I believe, but maybe 52 or 53. But the best thing is there's no rule right now in the rule book about dogs. So we're feeling pretty good. We're feeling pretty good that we're going to be able to do something with Yuri, and it won't count against our bipedal roster. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. See, that's an NASCAR in me. I'm always trying to find a way around the rules.
Well, I can tell you, I've got a coon dog that is a leaper. So, I mean, I'm going to get a hold of Birmingham today and see if they want a coon dog to go ahead and match up against Yuri, and we'll see what happens.
Well, we'll see. But he's the best wide retriever in the league.
I've got 2 Aussie Shepherds that'll hurt him right down the field too. They'll get him open. So,
hey, Michael, is the staff going to eat well this week on Kosher's dime?
Oh, yeah, we got some pizza coming in. I tried to get Kosher to come through for us and give us the steak dinner, but he didn't want to make that bet. So that's okay though. That's okay.
So we got pizza coming for. That's
What's
good.
That?
We got pizza coming though.
We got some pizzas. We go down to we're not chain pizza people here with the Apollos. We go down to Ghetto's Pizza, GITTO's Ghetto's Pizza, and they
had
get
that
it going.
before.
It has
Yeah.
really, it's a New York style pie, man. It works really well.
Mm-hmm. My son, by the time he was 10 years old, had been to Disney World like 6 times, 7 times. So we used to live in Orlando.
I've never
Go
been.
to
I'm looking forward to going there.
You go to Universal. Have
I'm
more
probably
fun at Universal.
anywhere where I don't stand in line. I don't do lines. So we're gonna have to go maybe one of those overnight deals.
No, we did this deal one time
fun.
where we got the friends. One of my friends was an announcer for the Golf Channel, Brian Hammonds, and the person that next door to him was vice president for Universal, and we got this thing called the Golden Ticket, and it's a little credit card thing you carry around on you. You get escorted to the front of every line, to the front car of every ride at